Good morning, boys and girls. I am Reverend Wanda Paden, and I am the teacher for our beginners class on today. And in our lesson, we will be speaking and learning about the Garden of Eden. Now, do any of our boys and girls know anything about a garden? Have you ever pictured what a garden may look like? Well, if you said that a garden is pretty, you are correct. Now, how about what is in a garden? Have you ever imagined or thought about that green stuff that you run on or you play on and it grows out of the dirt? Yes, that is grass. You have it. Now, what about those pretty things that grow? Some of them are pink, some of them are purple. We even have some that are yellow and bees fly around them. There are some boys and girls that give them to their mommies. Yes, you have it. They're called flowers. But there's some other things that grow in a garden, and they're green. And sometimes we have them in a pot inside of our home, and you have to water them so that they can grow. These things also are in a garden. We call them plants. Yes. Now, young people, let us not forget those big brown things that grow, and they have leaves on them, and they're even over top of our heads. You know what they're called, don't you? Yes. They're trees. All of these things are inside of a garden. Now, how do you think that all of these things are watered? God waters these things that's in this garden. He made a river. See? Water. That's how he was able to water the garden. And it was so big. But let me tell you how amazing God is. He took this here river right here, and he divided it into 4 parts. And because the garden was so big, it had to go in many different directions. And it was able to water the garden. Now, when we put these things together, you had grass, you had flowers, you had plants, you even had trees. Now, if we put all of those things together, can you imagine what that looks like? Yes, it was beautiful. God made that garden that was in the midst of Eden a delight. It was an enjoyment. It was like a paradise. Isn't it beautiful? That is what God made. And these young people are some of the things that we could find in this here garden. I want you to know something. God wasn't finished right there. He wasn't. He placed some of that dirt. He put something else over there in that garden. You ever played with Play-Doh? He began to shape and form something. You ever had Play-Doh in your hand? You know how you could pull it apart and you can form something and you can shape it. And that's just what God did. That's what he did. God made a man. Yes, he did. And he placed him inside of that garden. Now, when he formed him and he made him, he told him something. He told him that he couldn't eat. He said he could eat from all of the trees. Can you imagine some of the fruits that are on these trees? Let's think about some fruits and vegetables that grow from trees. Yes, apples. You got it. How about oranges? Yes, oranges. There may have been some bananas or some coconuts or some mangoes. There were many fruits. There were many vegetables that grew on these trees. But God gave man a rule. He told him that one of those trees, now let's remember, there were many, many trees in the garden, but he told him one of those trees that he could not eat. And the name of that tree was the knowledge of good and evil. So class, how many trees did God tell the man that he could not eat from? Yes, just one. That's right. So we want to remember, what's the name of that tree? It was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's the tree that man was not able to eat from. Now, we always want to listen and obey the rules. And we know what rules are. Rules tell us what we can do and what we cannot do. What we just say. Rules tell us what we can do and what we cannot do. So God wanted man to obey and listen to his rule. You know why? Because they had an unbroken relationship. Man obeyed God. So God wanted man to listen and obey. Don't you know what rules are? You got them in your home. Don't you have to do things? You can't run, you can't jump, you can't play. So that's what God told man. He gave him a rule. Now, young people, boys and girls, if man did not obey God, God told him something. He said, if you eat from that one tree, remember it was only one. He said, if you eat from that one tree, you're going to surely die. God didn't want man to die. He wanted him to listen to the rule. Now, when we think about it, we think about that beautiful place that God made in Eden. He placed that garden in the middle. He put the grass there. He put the flowers and the trees. He even put the plants in the water. God formed man and he placed him in that garden. And all he wanted him to do, young people, was obey and listen to the rule. Now, let's say our prayer, because we want to also obey God's rule. Hands together. Dear God, please help me to always obey the rules. Amen. Let's say that again, young people, because we want to remember. Dear God, please help me to always obey the rules. Amen. Young people, I am your teacher, Reverend Wanda Paden, and our lesson, the Garden of Eden. See you later.